Hey, so we're live, and well, man, what a topic to talk about. This is going to be super controversial, and with good reason. I mean, there's a lot of arguments on both sides of the aisle, and we should talk about it. So, Alex is here. Okay, all right, and Mr. Fisher Mooser. What's up, Justin? Everybody's here. Before I do anything, before I give any opinion or talk about this, which I have a lot to say about it, but before I do any of that, leave me a comment down below about if you just yes or no, or if you have a third option, give me that. But I want you guys to leave a comment and like the video. That'll help me get this out to more people because I think it's an important topic and conversation to have. So please do that. I'm just curious what everybody has to think. Hey, what's up, Justin? Thank you. I'm glad you're here. It's nice to see you. It's rare these days. So, before we get into it too much, and if you're just joining, this is a very controversial topic. The whole, should I work for exposure? Should I not work for exposure? Why or why not? It's a classic question. And it's popped up since, I mean, gosh, since there were services to be rendered, so it's old one. And I have some thoughts on it. And I don't want to color anybody's opinion what it is right now. I'd like to know at this moment, what do you think? Should you work for exposure or shouldn't you? And leave me either a comment or leave me a or something in the chat box, but I'd really like to know what you guys think before I get started. And see if I can change your mind, maybe. So the flooding's good. Thank you for asking. We're back to normal here, so everything's fine. We're all happy and safe, and things seem to have worked out okay. So thank you for asking about that. Okay, so not sponsored, but you get 24 of these for the same price as 12 of another popular cola. Working for exposure, so it's not necessarily magic lingo. It's lingo in reference to anybody. I mean, this is for photographers, for caterers, for event spaces and venues. This is for wedding planners. This is for anybody who renders a service with the hopes that, or the promise of work based on that exposure, right? That you are working, you're not getting paid to work, but you are getting paid in opportunity for your services, and in the idea or the hopes that you will get future work based off of your appearance at whatever event you're asked to work for exposure. So, okay, let's lay into it. And I got some notes too, so we should talk about all of this. But here's my thoughts. And well, actually, before we even get to my thoughts, before we even do that, let's get into some camps of thought. There's yes, you should work for exposure. You should take any opportunity to market yourself to anyone and everyone. That's one thought. There's another camp which says no, you shouldn't, because you can't pay your landlord in exposure bucks. And is the caterer getting paid, right? What are they getting paid? Why don't you have a budget for me if you're paying the caterer, right? Those are kind of the two camps. And then there's a third one, which is mine, which is, yes, you should work for exposure, but only for the right kind of exposure. So here's my thoughts, right? Yeah, you could say yes, let's do it for anything. You have to get your name out there. Big Hands is right. Exposure is almost so much to get your name out there. Yes, but being paid in exposure is something different. Exposure could be putting your name. Well, this is a little bit of an old. That's marketing, right? That's getting your name there that's marketing. So if you do SEO, local SEO for your Magic website, that's exposure. You're exposing yourself, for lack of a better way to put that. You are getting in the face of people. That does not mean necessarily working for free, though. I'm speaking strictly in the sense of, should you work for free with the promise of more work potentially that's paid. So here's my thoughts. And not everybody will agree with me, and that's fine. But I think that you should work for exposure, but only the right type. Because here's the thing: is that everybody will be happy to let you work for them for free, right? Little Billy's birthday party, corporate event with 2,000 people in attendance. It doesn't matter if there will be people. If you do services for free, there will always be people who will be happy to partake of your free services. So, I guess it comes down to your goals. For me, I think it's always down to who's going to be there, right? So, if somebody calls me up and they say, "Hey, we don't have a budget for this," but, and in fact, this happened to me last night. I can use this as an example. I have a friend in the magic community here. Him and I are both corporate magicians, and we share work with one another and are good friends. He is also on the board for a event planning group or organization. And he called me and said, "Hey, we're doing an event. Do you think you could, or would you be interested in coming to do this?" I already understand, because of the nature of having been a member of this organization before, having organized other events with them. It's not a paid thing. But I said, yeah, absolutely, I'll do that. And I had to drive all the way out to Dallas with gas what it is. I'm happy to go out there, drive out there, and do the show for free. And it's not for free. The thing is that there's a lot that you can do. Well, one, it's an organization in front of tons of meeting and event planners. It is a fabulous place to network and showcase your talents and skills in front of people who can hire you. So that's a little bit different than somebody calling you up and saying, "Hey, can you come do my son's 12th birthday party? I can't pay you, but there's a lot of really, rich people at this party, a lot of rich parents who might hire you for their party." That I would absolutely say no to. Why? What's the difference? It's the understanding of actual potential, of real potential work, right? So this is a professional organization with meeting and event planners who do book entertainment. I know that being in front of them, getting my card in their hands or theirs in mine, will lead to work. I can't say that with, and I don't expect that kind of organization to pay me. They don't have a budget for that, because the way they put on their events is by the value that you get from meeting the other people there. So, for an example, like that event last night, absolutely. When and where, I will be there. I have another friend, John Martin, who owns a venue called On the Levee, and he does something called Twilight Tuesdays, where they're vendor showcases, where he wants to get as many people on his email list into his venue as possible to see what the venue looks like, so they can consider booking his services or his venue out for their wedding, or for a corporate event, or for a retreat, or whatever, right? Yeah, I always do those. If I'm available, I will always do those. And it's different because the audience is different. I know that people that in that group are going to be people that I can get a lot of business from. So it's kind of like your marketing budget, right? And I want to make sure I'm taking a look at something. I'm going to pause here and take a look at some of the comments here. Exposure is almost a must for getting your name out there. Justin says, "I think I'm for it. It's somewhat like an ad for your brand. For example, I recently did a podcast as a teaser because my podcast will get on Patreon, so I did a free one to kind of get the content out there. They say fake it until you make it. and I subscribe to that theory. You don't want to undervalue yourself. Okay, Alex, that's an interesting point. I want to come back to that. Big Hands, I mean, unless contractually obligated to, no, I personally feel you get to get your name out there. Nowadays, YouTube is exposure, and in person is the banking opportunity. Okay. It is situational. So the things you have to know about this, and for my response anyway, I think yes, you should work for free. Okay. If somebody calls you and tells you, "Hey, can you do this for exposure?" Hang up the phone, right? I'd be polite about it, but no, I was sorry, I don't do that. Thank you for your consideration. Have a nice day. Don't burn a bridge, but also don't work for free unless you're getting your value somewhere else. There are a lot of other things of value besides money, right? And that's kind of the point I'm getting to, is that there are things like, for instance, and I have it here, a couple of factors for me. Who am I performing in front of? Are these people that actually have the ability and the means to hire me for events in the future that I want to do? Right? They got to be events that I'm trying to get. I work with D Magazine, which is a large publication here in Dallas. D Magazine, Dallas Magazine, and I have some really great friends over there. I love all the people over at D Magazine, and I do lots of free events for them for their different. And I have a bunch coming up this July and August that I'm doing for free. But really what I'm doing is I'm trading in ad revenues or an ad exchange. So I write them an invoice for, how much my show would cost. And then they give me that much in credit towards advertising in their magazine. So that is super valuable to me because it gets me in front of the right demographic in my local area for me to be able to work. So for me, that's a fair trade. Another example would be, what else have I got? I've got advertising in major publications. There's another group that I work with, another meeting and event planning magazine, who the editor-in-chief of that magazine reached out to me and said, "Hey, we're having a conference in Plano. We're a national magazine, but we're having a conference in Plano. Got your name, and would you be interested in coming to do that for trade for advertising in the magazine?" Absolutely. So for that free show, I've probably made, for appearing one time in person, which was just down the street from my house, performing for, I think it was like 2 hours for free. I think I've made somewhere around $20,000 in shows from appearing one time. That was a combination of in person, making connections with the event planners that were there to learn at the conference, and then also the advertising in the magazine. That's super valuable. $20,000 to show up for 2 hours, right? It's a no-brainer. You should do that, right? But it's only because I know that the audience that's showing up, they're meeting and event planners who I want to talk to if I am booking corporate magic or entertainment. Those are people I want to see me. So yes, of course I'll do that. Why wouldn't you? That'd be insane not to. Another thing that you can get is it's something, other things I've asked for. I've done this in exchange for a discounted rate. Maybe it was just a little bit too pricey for them. You can do things like ask for, your name and contact information, your website, email address, phone number, those kinds of things included in a newsletter that they send out. He's like, "Do you send out a newsletter?" Yeah, we send out an email newsletter once a quarter, whatever, or after every major event that we have. So you go, "Great. Can you put a little article in there about me, about the entertainment that I provided at the event, with a link to my website and contact information?" That's super helpful because now you've marketed to all of those other people from the organization, which looks really good. Something else you can do is you can ask for a list of the attendees and their contact information. And this will be okay in some instances and not okay in others, but you have to feel that out and see how they feel about it. Doesn't hurt to ask, but you can go, "Hey, look, you're doing an event with a bunch of meeting and event planners. You go, hey, look, after the event, I'd love to be able to follow up with everybody I met here. It's not always easy to get to everybody necessarily, or to be able to exchange contact information with every single person I'm meeting. It'd be really great to get a list of the attendees and their contact information so I can just make a touching point after the show. That's super useful because now you have a whole email list, right, of people you can connect with. Of course, know about spamming and all of that kind of stuff, and there's a whole thing of ethics on how you do that ethically, but super valuable. So for me, it really comes down to, can you actually expect to get some kind of work out of this, and the quality of the work that you could expect to receive out of performing for free. You might also do it to maintain relationships. If you have other people in the industry that you work with a lot and they need a favor, and you can do a favor, do them a favor. That kind of goodwill will get you very far. I wanted to make sure I'm checking out your comments, and I wanted to go back to what Alex said too about, they say fake it until you make it. I subscribe to that theory. You don't want to undervalue yourself. It's true. You do not want to undervalue yourself. That's why you ask for things that are valuable that are not money. You do not want to fall into the trap of being free entertainment. That is true, right? Because here's the thing. This is true. This is what will happen. If you book well under your rate for a show, they will, whether you ask them to or not, they will share how much they got you for to all their friends, and then all their friends will call and ask to book you, and then you'll tell them your normal rate, and they'll go, oh, well, I got your number from so and so, and they said that they got you for $200, right? So that's will not do favors for you moving forward. So there are some ways that you can go, hey, look, you know what? Another thing you could do is something that I've done a lot whenever they're either discounting a show, or if I'm just going to straight up just do it in trade for something. Another thing you can do is go, look, can I bring my camera guy and a videographer in here and film the show and take photographs throughout the program? It can be a little bit disruptive sometimes. And so can be not normally okay to do, or limited circumstances to do at a paid gig. If you're bringing actual videographer and photographers in, and they're like getting shots of you and running around and doing all these things, it can be a little bit disruptive at times. So if you go, look, if I can do that, I'm needing more marketing material for my website, for people to see the kind of shows that I do. That's super valuable for me to be able to do that. So, if you're cool with that. But I don't think you should ever work without receiving some kind of value in return. This doesn't have to be monetary value. Big Hand says exposure may limit to what you want. Have them come to you. Then if they like what you see, sign here, send check, and tell me where to be. I'm sorry, I got to read that again. Exposure may be limited to what you want. Have them come to you. Then if they like what they see, sign here. Yeah, and that's interesting. That's an interesting take too, Big Hands, I think. The way I usually handle that scenario happens is whenever somebody is looking at booking me, but is trying to decide whether to book me or someone else. And I'll be, hey, look, you know what? How about we jump on a Zoom call? I can meet your team, because if the person that I'm talking to is only doing reconnaissance but is not the decision maker, and they have to bring it to a decision maker or a team of decision makers, I want to be in front of the team of decision makers. And so pre-COVID, that was I used to just set up meetings in person. I used to go to whatever their room was, their conference room, and I would meet with all of the meeting planners, or all the planners there, and just make a good impression and do it that way. And but now it tends to be over Zoom calls, and then I just call everybody on Zoom, and we talk about it, and I figure out what their needs are, and I might do some magic just to kind of win them over, or whatever. but that goes a really long way. But that's where that comes to for me. So yeah, I might do some magic for free during a meeting, a Zoom meeting for some potential clients. But that's okay if it clinches the deal. Okay, who cares? So do, do, do. Here's the other thing too. I have to share a story that my mentor shared with me. His name's David Hyra. You guys may have seen his lecture on Penguin Live. Um, Fantabulous magician, incredible guy. Learned a lot from him. He has this famous story about performing free for. I guess what had happened is his kids were in Boy Scouts, and he got wind that the entertainment that they had planned for a blue and gold event had got sick or had bailed or something like that, and then they were without entertainment. David heard wind of that and called up the organizers for that and said, "Hey, look, I'll do it for free." Right. And then what he did is he did a full on stage show, like David Copperfield style stage show for free. And uh he doesn't say this, but he doesn't say this, and he hasn't told me this, but I imagine being that he has that his kids were in Boy Scouts, he knew who his kids were in Scouts with, and who their parents were. And so, he does this big, very over the top, very impressive show for blue and gold and for free. And who's there is the CEO of Dr. Pepper. And he ended up becoming the official spokesperson for Dr. Pepper for like 20 years or something. Um, so there's a story there that, and got hired for countless things, got a lot of really great, I'm sure, business connections out of that. Frito-Lay, Pepsi Frito-Lay is right next door to them. I'm sure they talk. Anyway, there's a lot, there's 20 years worth of work and goodwill with Dr. Pepper that he got because he did one free show. And a good one, and a really good one. Also, working for free doesn't mean giving any less than your best, right? It's an investment if you're going to do that. And I say keep saying for free in parentheticals or air quotes, because it doesn't mean going in and half button it. That doesn't work, right? So if you're going to do it for free, you go and you do your show. You do your show with the same high quality energy that you do all of your shows with, all your paid shows with. You bring the same level of energy and quality to everything you do. So that is kind of my thoughts, and I want to hear what you guys think. And I've got some really interesting comments here, kind of back and forth, going, well, maybe, yes, in certain situations, maybe no. But yeah, that's something that I think is that's not addressed a lot, or I think people have the wrong attitude about it, you know. And I think it's true, because we don't talk about the subtlety or the nuance, because it really comes down to who is the audience, right? Who's asking me to do it for free? Why are they asking me to do it for free? Now, if you're doing it as a sponsor, if you're being called a sponsor of an event, right? That's different than if you get called. And I'm gonna crap on some people here, okay? But some TikTok star comes on and says, "Well, I have 150,000 subscribers on TikTok, and I want like a free hotel room, and I'll give you your hotel a lot of exposure." Get out of here. Like, I mean, I understand that influencer culture is a thing, and that it can be helpful to a business to get that kind of positive whatever. But if somebody's coming in expecting, or it has an entitlement towards free things because whatever, no, that's a red flag. Stay away from that. But if it's a professional organization and the people that you're going to get in front of are super helpful, let's say you're a kid's birthday party magician, and um, childhood magazine asks you to come do their conference or something, and you go and you meet all these kids and you do a amazingly cool magic show for all of them, and in exchange you get um like a lot of really nice free advertising cover, maybe news coverage, maybe an article about you in their magazine. um is it worth it just because you didn't get paid? Right, you didn't get paid your whatever amount of money to do a kids show. It's more valuable. It's whenever the value outweighs what you were going to get paid in the first place is when you definitely want to take that opportunity. So, hey, what's going on, Don? Thanks for joining. I don't know how much longer we're going to be on. I would love your input though, because we're talking about working for exposure, working for free, and I know. Hey, we also have to mention Don, our very own. He's putting on his first show tomorrow, his first stage show tomorrow at God. Um Actually, Don, do you mind? I don't have the details offhand. I mean, I have them, but I don't have them right in front of me. Could you please share that information with anybody that's in the area? When and where your show is tomorrow night? Because I would love, if it's possible, to get some of the Magic Minute crew together and come see your show. So he's also going to be filming it, and I haven't asked him yet, but with his permission, I'm going to try to share some of that on the channel. See if we can do that. Oh, big hands, man. It's no big deal. I'm seeing your thing. I feel honored whenever you feature your event on your YouTube live. Some YouTubers out there want you to sign up to donate blood, a hair sample, just to be able to comment on their vids. Man, I how is that a community? How are we helping lift each other up, learning from each other, sharing in each other's victories, if that's what you got to do, if you got to jump through these kind of hoops. Now, eventually, the idea is that I will probably get, well, what I'd like to do is I'd like to get this channel massively huge, where it's going to be a challenge to be able to keep up with everything. That'd be a good problem to have. But like, this is what this channel is. It's like we're a small ragtag group of guys and gals who get together and talk magic, and have a love for the craft and want to get better and do better. So we should do that for each other. Speaking of which, Robert Ball, who's not watching right now, I don't think, he sent me a comment, and Josh Breibauer, they both sent me comments to clips of videos that they had uploaded, wanted me to check out, and they got caught by my comments held for review on YouTube Studio because they had URL links in them. So I have that to automatically block, as you might imagine, so that way, bots are not sharing dangerous links to anywhere. So I only just saw them. One of them is a month old and I didn't see it. So I'm sorry to both Josh and Robert for that. I've watched both of your videos now, so and commented, I think. So thank you for sharing those with me. I'm sorry that happened. If you want to send me video links, the best, safest way to do that is to do it through Discord. So that way I can make sure I don't miss them. They're not blocked from me, or I don't have to go into a separate channel to review them or whatever. All right. All right. So, Don, it's at 7 p.m. in Monmouth, Illinois. I'll film it and send you some video. Sweet. If you guys are anywhere in that area, go check out his show. We got to give him some support and love. So anybody who's watching this either later, before the show, or now, if anybody's in the Monmouth, Illinois area, go check out the program. Don's doing 2 free shows, one tomorrow and one the 7th of July. The 4th of July is paid for a town fair. Right on, Don. Air fist bump. Pow. Good job. Good job. Don's kicking butt and taking names. Nice done. Nicely done. Well, We're getting close to the end here. I've got to give my poor dog a bath. Um, she's recovering from fleas. Actually, she got them outside from another dog. Gave her a bath right away and everything, but she's itchy and her skin's all awful and everything. So I got to go give her a nice soothing oatmeal bath to relieve her skin. And so got to do that with some immediacy because I can hear her in the other room going. But please leave a comment whether you're watching this later, whatever. I want to know if you think that I was way off and you disagree entirely, or if you think that there's something to what I'm saying. Did I change your mind? Are you happy with the mind you have? To borrow the old magic joke. But I want to know what you guys think about it. What do you think? So leave me a comment, please, and let me know. Also, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Thumbs up the video if you liked it, and hit the thumbs down button twice if you hated it. And let's all give Don our love. And I'm so excited to see some of the video and share it on the channel. So go kick some butt, Don. All right. I'll see y'all next week, I think. All right. Cheers. Eat your vegetables. Don't fart in the car.